Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Al's Vintage Toy Trains, and today I wanted to go over Lionel's motorized switcher units that they cataloged from 1955 through 1963. So there are six primary motorized switchers that Lionel produced, and they came in two different cab types, and they all had three-position E units. They all had operating couplers front and rear, and they all had the simulated light, so there was no lighted feature, but just the headlight lens. And they either had a simulated horn or a simulated bell with a couple or two different stack types. So we'll go through these in order of when they were cataloged. So we'll start off with Lionel's number 41, and it is the Army switcher, and it shows here the Transportation Corps, United States Army. And Lionel did catalog this one from 1955 to 1957. So it ran for 3 years and is probably the most common of the six switchers. And we'll go ahead and move to the second one here. And this is Lionel's Navy Yard switcher. And it was cataloged just 2 years, so 1956 and 1957. And you'll notice the difference here between the two, where the Army switcher has the three round stacks and the simulated horn. And the Navy switcher has a large stack with a simulated bell. You'll notice the multiple stanchions on the Army switcher in the cab all the way to the rear. And the Navy switcher has a single stanchion and a back compartment from the cab. And so that makes up the two primary types of cabs that you'll see. Otherwise, the motorized units are pretty much the same chassis and motor. All right, third one produced by Lionel is the number 42 Picatinny Arsenal, and it was only cataloged for 1 year, so this one's a lot harder to find than the Army number 41 switcher, and it's also harder to find than the Navy switcher. And this one is just like the Army switcher with the three small stacks and the simulated horn and the multiple stanchions. And like I said, it's an identical cab to the Army switcher, but a different color, obviously. All right, moving on to the next one. This is Lionel's number 56, Minneapolis and St. Louis, and it was cataloged 1 year only, 1958. And this one's also fairly difficult to find compared to the Army and the Navy switchers. And a nice bright red and white, so it kind of stands out. And this one's just like the Navy switcher with the large stack and the simulated bell and the cab. There's the Navy switcher. And the Minneapolis and St. Louis, the mine transport. All right, moving on to the next one. This is Lionel's number 57 AEC, Atomic Energy Commission, I believe is what the AEC stands for. And it is just like the Minneapolis St. Louis and the Navy Yard switcher as far as the cab type, with the large stack and the simulated bell. This one's also fairly hard to find. And then last but not least is the Minuteman, Lionel's number 59 Air Force Minuteman. So this was cataloged 1962 to 1963. And just going back to the AEC, this was cataloged 1959 and 1960. So you can see that Lionel cataloged these switchers, very inexpensive to make for them, low cost compared to the other engines that Lionel was producing. And very neat little switchers. And again, the Minuteman here is just like the Army switcher, the number 41, and the Picatinny Arsenal with the three small stacks and the simulated horn. This is probably the best condition switcher that I have and one of the hardest to find. One thing you got to be really careful of when you're looking at these are the stanchions. A lot of times the stanchions will break, they'll be cracked or missing altogether. And if we take a closer look at this Navy Yard switcher, you'll notice it's got a hairline crack in the stanchion. Most of these are in pretty good shape otherwise. And those are the 6 switchers. And we'll do a quick overview in the catalog here. And we'll start with the 1956 catalog. So the 1956 catalog showed both the number 41 gas turbine switcher, or the Army switcher, and it also showed the number 51 Navy Yard switcher. So 1955 just had the number 41. 1956 has both the 41 and the 51. And the 1957 catalog actually lists all 3 of the switchers. The number 41 Army switcher, not illustrated here. It does have the new for this year, the Picatinny Arsenal number 42, and it has the last year of the Navy Yard switcher. And actually 1957 was the last of these 3 motorized switchers. All right, let's go to 1958. And 1958 depicted the Minneapolis and St. Louis. And here you see the price for the first time. You did not see the price in the other catalogs. And it was listed for $12.95 here. So this is a 1-year only cataloged Minneapolis and St. Louis, 1958. All right, here is Lionel's number 57 in the 1959 catalog. It was cataloged 1959 and 1960. And it depicted it here. And it was $12.95. All right, last catalog. And this is the 1962 catalog depicting the number 59 Air Force Minuteman. Again, this was cataloged 1962 and 1963. And by 1962, the price jumped up another couple dollars, so it was now $14.95 as opposed to $12.95. And there you have the catalogs depicting each of the motorized switchers. And one last view of the 6 switchers. And I hope you enjoyed, and have a good day, everybody.